Good morning. So basically we started this thing, particle swarm optimization. Now basically how it's going to work, we need to find it out. The thing. Though we had taken this thing from the nature and it's been inspired by the shell behavior of bird and fish. Right? The people are searching food sources and if there is one food hello? हेलो
Start recording, sir.
आज नहीं कर सकता कंप्यूटर नहीं स्टार्ट है अगर आप कर सकते हो तो कर लो तो भी मैं इससे स्टार्ट कर सकता हूँ तो चेक करता हूँ 1 सेकंड रुको मैंने मीटिंग मोबाइल से बनाई है मोबाइल में ऑप्शन कहाँ से आता है हाँ है कुआ स्टार्ट हेलो इज रिकॉर्डिंग स्टार्टेड और नॉट यस स्टार्टेड
Yes.
गुड वो आज यहाँ कंप्यूटर स्टार्ट ही नहीं हो रहा था so that's was the problem so the people basically inspired from bird and fish so basically bird and fish is searching for food source this is a basic motivation right now what are the components that basically the people are using in particle swarm algorithm so every bird or fish is considered is particle and every particle is having witness value and that witness value is calculated by objective function. Today I had designed one problem where we can apply the particle swarm. At that moment of time we calculate all this value. But this is a step just we need to follow every time. All particles is having their or the people is storing their best solution. First, please understand it. Here we talk about the number of particles, right? And the particle is having their own best solution. Even they had your neighboring best solution also, right? So now the first procedure is that whenever you are finding your best position, you need to save it. And whenever you find even better solution for yourself, then you need to update that value. Right? So every time whenever the particle is storing their own best solution, they also having knowledge of best solution so far in the group of particles. Now, basically, if we think about swarm, means talk about bird, talk about fish, they people are going in direction of the food source, right? But definitely they are having velocity. So now they need to update the velocity based on the best solution of particle as well as best solution of the group particle. So this is the four step the people every time apply over here. What do you mean by particle? Every fish or every bird is considered as a particle. Calculating fitness value based on your objective function. And then all the particle is going to store as best value. So far it's invented. It even knowing about the global best value of the group, of the particle. And based on that, they need to adjust their velocity. Okay. Now we exactly understand what the people are doing. Just a second. AC point আমরা উঠছে So now we're going to understand it. Particles and algorithm. First task is to initialize particles. Then to check the fitness of each and every particle. Modify the velocity based on its best value in global best of the group. The end has been your termination criteria. And if it's not going to terminate, if it's not satisfied yet, we again move to next step. Again, we are going back to evaluate the fitness function. Again, we need to do this procedure on and on and on and on and on till we find out the termination criteria. or whatever the condition you people find it out for the termination. It's not like that this has been infinite loop. We are going on and on and on. So now how we are going to update the velocity. And basically after velocity, once you calculate it, then you need to update the position of the particle. Please understand what do you mean by velocity means whatever the value you are calculating for the velocity. This is your step size, nothing else. કેટલું ખસવું છે એ શોધીએ છે આપણે. In which direction we need to move, right? So every time whenever you complete it out to calculate the velocity, after that you need to update the position of the particles. So particles will going to move in the direction of the solution. That's our objective. Here we don't have one single particle, we are having multiple particles. We randomly initialize the multiple particle in search space. And then we are calculating this all procedure. Every time we are finding, because initializing the particle means whatever the solution the people are initially having, this being your best solution. Based on it, every time is going to update. And then you are doing this recursively, this and this. So just two things every time we are doing, right? So now if you want to calculate the velocity, or we can say that updating the velocity. This is your initial velocity. Not many parameters are there, so don't need to worry about it. This is your W. This initial tree effect plus ये continuation है C1 multiplied by this is your random function that generates the random numbers. This is P best means your particle best position so far minus x of I. This is your current position plus C2 multiply, again this is random function that generates random number, multiply by GB of I. This is global best position so far minus x of I. ये दोनों x of I सेम है. What do you mean by C1 and C2? Random function you people are knowing, so I didn't explain it. Is used to generate the random number. Are the learning vector and W is the weight. If you want to evaluate this thing, we will understand it by example, don't need to worry about it. All the things we are going to initialize. This is to update the velocity. This is your initial velocity, and if we talk about this V of I, this is V of I plus 1. Okay, in equation. Now we need to update the position also. Underscore update. Then same way, this is your xt is your current position. And now we need to find it out. Your x I plus 1 is equal to x of I plus this. Whatever you would find the velocity. So this is second equation. First equation is too big to write it down, but this is your first equation. So if you consider, this is my particle 1, this is my particle, this is 1, this is my particle best solution so far. Suppose we can draw the global solution is over here somewhere. We can set the best solution so far of the group is this. This is your PB, this is your GB, and your velocity might be considered like this thing. This is V of I, the velocity, right? And this is your current position, means this is your x of. Just a second. Let me look. This is your. So now we need to update this thing. Your x of I, and we need to. Where we need to traverse? We need to traverse over here. Please understand it. Initial our direction is this, but we need to move in this direction. If accordingly, if you think about it, our personal best is in this direction, then our global best is in this direction. So when you update, your vector might become over here somewhere. This might be your, exactly the calculation will tell, but pictorially if I want to plot it out, then somewhere here in this direction I need to move from x of I over here to this. This my initial velocity, I'm moving in this direction. My personal best is in this direction, that's why I move like this. My global best is this, and we are calculating this, right? So we can see that out with the function. No need to worry about it. So every time, whatever based on your this, we are calculating your new position of v of I plus 1, and in addition to that, we are calculating your x of I plus 1. Right? This is only for the one particle. We are having number of particles in this space. Suppose now I will open it out. Just a second, hold. So now, if we want to do the solution of any problem, the initial parameters we required over here. We can say this means size, position of this one, so we can replace this word with particle also, no issue about it. Number of iteration. These are the initial parameter. What are the control parameter then? Your W in that equation. Acceleration coefficient, your C1 and C2. These are your control parameter, right? Now we think about it. What exactly is the impact if we do this thing? If we talk about now your weight W. If again someone assume that if someone takes this W, or we can say the weight value very large, what will be the impact? We need to understand it. Then if you take it very large, having more of global search. If you're taking this W over here in this equation, this very large. Similarly, if somebody is taking your weight value more, then having oh, एक सेकंड है चालू रखना बेटा. Having capability of local search. This will we see when we calculate exactly the sum. But this is very important whenever we are designing or we are understanding any equation at that moment to time. If we change the value of the parameters, what exactly the impact of it we need to understand. Now if we think about W in similar manner, we need to think about our acceleration parameters, because acceleration parameters are C1 and C2, right? So if you want to talk about your acceleration parameter, coefficient Here we are having C1 and C2. So if I take this larger and this smaller, or if I take this smaller, this larger and this smaller and this smaller and this larger. Because please understand, whenever you read the equation, C1 associated with personal best, C2 associated with your global best. So if I take this bigger and this smaller, or the contrary, if I take this bigger and this smaller, what will going to impact that we need to understand. If my C1 is larger than your C2, then what will be the impact? And if my C2 is larger than C1, then what will be the impact? This we need to. Okay, it's been already 10. Okay, we will continue from in the next lecture. Okay, thank you.